Well, let's start by talking to Sonny. He's calling us from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Sonny, welcome to the Diane Rehm Show.
Thank you. Good morning. I want to go to the case that was decided in California this week on gay marriage.
Uh-huh.
And first of all, I am a Mormon, and so I come from that perspective. And I feel like this was a blow to the democracy that was taking place by the voters expressing in a very clear way their desire to change the Constitution in that state, and then that being overruled by a judge. And I want to make it clear that I don't feel, and I don't think other Mormons feel, like this is a case of civil rights, because they have the right to marry. And unfortunately, they don't have the desire to marry within the framework that's available. But they do have that same right as everyone else. And it comes down to what is right and wrong. And unfortunately, this is a moral argument that's being played out in the courts under the guise of a civil rights argument. And unfortunately, there's a tug and a pull, and I think it's going to probably come down at the end of the day on the wrong side from my perspective. But I also have been labeled as a people, as other Mormons and other conservatives, as a bigot and as a small-minded individual. And I am very, very sick of that argument. And it holds no weight. It does not apply to me because I don't have any malice or any desire to take anything away from any other individual. But I do have a strong desire to protect what I believe is a very, very important part of our society, and that is traditional marriage.
All right, Sonny, thanks so much for your call. EJ.
Well, Sonny made an interesting argument I hadn't heard before. He's essentially saying, if I heard him right, that gay people have the same right to heterosexual marriage as everybody else, but that's not exactly what's relevant to gay people. There is a lot of overheated language in this discussion, and I think this is a hard issue for the following reason. If you are gay and you want to get married and you want to make your life commitment to someone who is of the same sex, in most places you can't do it. I came to support gay marriage myself on what I would call conservative grounds, which is, and David Brooks made this argument very powerfully years ago, that if you believe in fidelity and commitment, why should you deny to gay people the possibility of making these commitments? But on the other side is this argument about democracy, that this is the kind of issue that should not be settled by the courts and that we should argue it out in the democratic system. We have, I think, 5 states in one way or another who have either gotten it through the courts or gotten it through the legislature, and the voters have accepted it. In the long run, I still think that all of this is going to have to be ratified by legislatures and the voters. In the long run, I think we're going to move to gay marriage because young Americans have very different views on this than older Americans. But that's, I think, a legitimate argument that we're going to have in the coming months.
It's also true that this is an issue on which we are seeing big changes in U.S. public opinion in the polling. There's a poll, I think it was a field poll in California, that showed that the Proposition 8 would not pass if it was presented today, that a majority of California voters don't support it. Margaret?
It is changing. It's changing over time. It's changing generationally. But I think one of the most interesting places where you see this tension is in President Obama's own position himself, which is that he supports pretty much all other gay rights but opposes gay marriage.
Now, why is that, do you think?
Well, I mean, I'd love to ask him. Maybe I'll get a chance at the next press conference. But it's unclear. He has not been explicit about whether he's just old-fashioned or whether his opposition is one of, I lead the country and the country isn't ready for this yet, and I don't see that it's a necessity to have the battle at this time. It's unclear to me precisely why he has the position he has.
Now, David calls us from Baltimore, Maryland, and asks, if Proposition 8 goes to court, is there an effect on other states, those other states that have permitted gay marriage, or the states that now bar gay marriage? Stephen, do you know the answer to that?
I imagine this is a federal district ruling right now, but I imagine if the Ninth Circuit overturns agrees with the decision and agrees that Proposition 8 is unconstitutional, it'll be interesting to see. But I imagine there is some way at that point at which that ruling obviously applies to the entire Ninth Circuit.
Of course,